Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. Hey, what's going on? Oh, okay, alright. Seems like I'm so far over on the side. I don't know, Blue doesn't seem like he's doing that great. One. I think he's breathing a little too quick. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure something out. I think he maybe needs some Lasix today or something.
I can't do a proper donation until I get paid on Thursday. But here's a bit. Why do people want a child killer to go free? Thoughtful face.
I don't know why they want that. Thank you, Timothy Cecil. Two. Yeah, he's probably a little high for breathing. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I gotta do it. I didn't really check that earlier. Hold on. I gotta time something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see, 7 times 4. Well, it's not too bad actually. 1. That's pretty good. Like 20, not 30. 30 is pretty good. Alright, good. That's kind of weird. I'm sitting in this other room a lot of times and I have to I check in over there to do the count on Blue's breathing. You know, so you can kind of see it on there, like when he's breathing. See, 1, 2. See, let me just do this. Hold on. One, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's like 34, 35, something like that. I don't know. He didn't eat this morning though. He just kind of looked at it and walked away. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But like I said, he's getting near the, near the end point for Blue. He's got heart failure and kidney failure, and we're just kind of giving him supplements to kind of give him the chemical balance, but then Lasix, I think Lasix is what caused the kidney issue, and I might need to give him some more because his breathing's a little quicker than than you want it. See that? I don't know. And that removes the fluid off of the heart and lungs and shit. I don't know. Oh shit, it's just... Yeah, he's awesome, Blue. You know, it's just... Blue's been around. He's been on the show for... You know, even before I was doing the live streams, it seems like. I don't know. But anyways, here we go. We're going to go do the docket sent me this one little screenshot here. I guess, I mean, this is one of the witnesses. They're trying to get somebody named Jesse James to the courthouse on November 1st. They want him to be there to appear and testify. The jury trial in this case commenced on October 14th. The defense intends to call inmate Jesse James, ironically, as a witness in this case Friday, no sooner than November 1st. However, due to the volume of witnesses and due to the fact that the defense will not be able to present its evidence until the state has completed presenting its own evidence, it is somewhat unpredictable as to when inmate James will be needed in the courtroom. The defense requests that this honorable court issue an order directing the Carroll County Sheriff to retrieve inmate James from his Indiana something of correction location facility. Attorney Rosie has communicated with Deputy Attorney General Aaron Ridlin, who represents the Indiana Department of Corrections, and confirmed that the Indiana Department of Correction require a 24-hour notice prior to any inmate being retrieved from the Department of Corrections. Therefore, Defendant Allen requests that said transport order articulate the circumstances referenced above. Yeah. Anyways, that's that. And then we're going to do the... we got the Which TV blog here. Seemed like it was pretty interesting. Thanks, Kelly S. That's it for all the advice? Just kidding. Thank you. All right. All right. So here we go. Court began at 9:02 a.m. Oh, that's I was just joking, Kelly. Don't worry about it. Court began at 9:02 a.m. News 8, Kyla Russell reports Allen is wearing a light purple button-down shirt and khaki pants. She reports he seems to have lost even more weight. Well, right, he wants to lose as much as he can because he doesn't want to appear bulky and strong like he actually looked in 2017. Hey, good for you, Sharon. I'm not sure why you have 19 question marks on there and things like that. But the state enters into evidence 2 video interviews with Allen from October 13th and the 26th, 2022. Judge Gould tells the jury that parts are redacted as they do not pertain to the investigation. The judge allowed... Now watch, the conspiracy. What are in those redacted parts? Oh my God, what are in those redacted parts? The judge allows both... the defense would have said something if they actually meant something. All right. The judge allows both videos, one with Mullen and Liggett, and the other with Jerry Holman. Lieutenant Jerry Holman. He was sergeant at the time. At 9:14 a.m., the jury enters the courtroom, and the video is on the screen. Judge Gould says the jury was able to have supervised use of their phones last night, and were able to look at work emails. Hey, thank you, Bibby. Sure. Yes, YouTube. I try to monetize my live streams, but when the show's over, it usually has the yellow question, the yellow, what do you call it? It's like a symbol of no monetization. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know how to get it to work like that. No, I didn't say I'm going to turn them off. Who said that? I mean, I could try to turn them off and then turn them on after. Maybe I could do that. Let me do that. Just for Sharon. She doesn't like ads, so I'll go ahead and I'll turn them off. Having to rely yet again on you guys. So, alright, there we go. Turn it off. And there we go. No ads on the live stream. In the video, Mullen reads to Alan what they had learned from Doolin's interview with Alan in February of 2017. The three men joke around their ages. Alan says, "I'm in the 50 club this year." Alan gives his phone number to Mullins and tells him he has an Android phone. Alan gives his email address. Mullen asks Alan if he uses Facebook, and Alan says, "My wife does, I don't." Thanks, Cheryl Bullock. Alan says in the video that he is married, has a daughter who was born in 1994. He says his daughter is almost, 2017. Oh, well, she would have been 23 years old at that time, right? Yeah. She has a daughter who was born in 1994. He says his daughter is also married. Her husband used to live in the Philippines and Canada. They got married in 2017. See, isn't that interesting? And they got married before. It's okay, Sharon. I'm just goofing around. I'm just not really sure what you guys want me to do. People say, "Gray, don't ask for super chats. Don't ask for super chats." And then I turn on the ads. "Gray, don't put the ads on there, you bastard. You're missing some of your show, you bastard." So it's like, well, what do I do? What do you guys want me to do? Alan says he graduated high school in 1991. That makes sense. So her daughter was, 94, his daughter. His daughter would be 23. Alan says he was in the National Guard. Okay, Alan says he graduated high school in 1991 and studied accounting at Ivy Tech before joining the military. He says he played football in high school for a year. Oh, Jesus. Man, that guy must have been, you just run into him and you fly 75 yards backwards. Although, when you look at him, in 2017, he's way bigger, than he looks right now. He made himself intentionally look different over the years. Alan says he was in the National Guard and that he lived in Mexico, Indiana most of his life, which is just north of Peru, just north of it. He says he does not consistently go to church and has no criminal record. That's what he said on October 13th, 2022. Alan says he had a heart attack in 2010 at the age of 37. He says on the video that he suffers from depression and anxiety. Hey, thank you so much, Carla M. We love you, Gray. Sharon up there said, love your show. I know you guys love my show. I just have my dry, sense of humor and comments. There's, don't worry about it, everybody. I still like everybody. Even if I go, oh my God, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. What the hell are you doing? I still like everybody. Okay, I'm unlike the trolls that are on social media, who make videos about me, who have video channels about me, who have entire communities about me, because they don't have a life. They are the kind that have vengeance their whole time. I have two moderators that I removed from this channel who have, since that time, done nothing but attack me over and over and over again. I don't know what to tell you guys. It is what it is. If you want to go believe the shit that they say, you can go ahead and believe it. I'm just going to do my thing. Hey, thanks. Bobby said, amazing coverage as usual on this case. I appreciate you calling out some of the law tubers. Actually scary how they use their expertise to sensationalize this case. Yeah, it's actually sucks. Hey, thanks, Boggle Queen. And by the way, so whenever you have somebody like Bob Mata telling you something, he's never going to give you the damning piece of information. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's right, I am a smart ass. They're never going to give you the, I got to put that up on the screen. Do whatever you think is best, Mr. Hughes, you smart ass. That's exactly right. I am a smart ass. Hey, thanks, Alley Cat. But Bob Mata, you know, I'm sure he's got a decent legal mind or whatever the hell it is. But he sits at the defense table and gets a seat in there. So do you think he's going to be critical when he comes out and makes a video? Every single thing he's going to say is going to be couched in a way. You know, I see the stuff that doesn't look good in this trial, but it does, like, oh, there's no DNA, there's no DNA. But we already knew there was no DNA. This entire time we've known there was no DNA. So I'm not really sure why it's a big deal right here at this trial. Everybody knows that. It's not hidden or anything. Hey, thanks, Alley Cat. Anyways, Alan says he had a heart attack in 2010 at the age of 37. He says on the video that he suffers from depression and anxiety. Alan tells investigators in the video that he worked at CVS since 2013 and previously worked at the location in Peru. So I don't know if he's saying a CVS in Peru. He says he worked for a Walmart 10 years before and he left. They didn't mention that. I noticed they didn't mention in there the working at the that auto factory or plant. What the hell was it again? The Chrysler plant. They didn't mention that. Mullins brings up February 2017. Alan says he was at his mom's in Peru, India. I mean, that's just crazy, you guys. But she doesn't live in Peru. She lives, I mean, like 4 miles north up in Mexico, Indiana. I mean, basically Mexico, Indiana is like a suburb of Peru. His wife was working and left there. And so here's the thing. He said his wife was working. You know, it was his day off, by the way. I mean, doesn't that just all just mean something to you guys? And he left there at 11:15. So let's go ahead and just go from Mexico, Indiana. Hold on. Get directions. Mexico. And by the way, Sharon Gornick's awesome, you guys. I've talked to her on the phone a few times. She's like, I don't really know how to explain it, but she just knows what the hell she's talking about. Let's see, Mexico, Indiana to, I guess I could go all the way down to you know, I don't know if I have his address on this. We'll just say Delphi. I just want to see how long that is. Just in general. So that is a 56, you know, 51 minute drive. So let's keep that in mind. So it's 11:15, 51 minute drive. That would put him home at like 12:05, you know, 12:10, let's say. He said he went home and got a jacket, even though it was warm out. Okay, well then you weren't at the bridge from 12 to 1:30, right? Because you got home at, you would have been home at 12:15, or 12, let's say 12:10 from Peru, and then you would have, you know, had to go home, get your jacket, and then drive back out there. So 12:30 would be the the earliest that you got it to the bridge. Okay, Richard Allen. Sorry, you're caught in a lie yet again. You guys see how you can just do simple shit like that? Hey, thank you very much, Georgia Mom. And Alan said he walked down to the high bridge, even out a little on a platform, and watched the fish. Now we might go, ooh, he just says a platform, not platform one. Ooh, 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 look at that. He just said. Alan says he then left. He says he parked either on the bridge side, not sure what that even means, or near a smaller bridge. Don't know what that means. Liggett shows him a map of the area. Mullen explains where things are on the map. Alan says he didn't go out. Here's the thing. Later this evening, like I said before, Lauren on Hidden True Crime takes the best notes. And if you want to listen to what she says happened in court, that's probably the closest you're going to get to actually being there, other than having the transcripts, okay? And then after she does that, if you guys want to come back over here and we talk about it, that's when you'll be able to synthesize the information, okay? And really know what stuff means from a perspective of common sense, all right? So even though they blocked me over there, I'm still telling you guys, just for the sake of the freaks, to have the best notes that are out there. She takes the best notes, all right? That's all I can, I'm not going to make something up. It's unfortunate that you get blocked from a, channel that you're actually complimenting like that, but, I've had critical things to say too, because when you get blocked from a channel, you're not necessarily nice to them, but I'm just saying the information is clear, and it's really obvious, it's just as if you're sitting there, and she doesn't really make any commentary. She just really is as if you're there, all right? So after that, if you come back over here, that's when we'll be talking about it. That's what I'm saying, all right? Let's see. So Alan said he walked down the high bridge, went out a little bit on a platform, and watched the fish. Alan says then he left. He says he parked either on the bridge side or near a smaller bridge. I'm not really sure what a smaller, if we look at the bridge side, this is a smaller bridge, not sure what he's saying by on the bridge side. There's a parking place over here, or near a smaller bridge. This is near this bridge, whatever the hell that means. Yeah. I think she might have some rogue moderators over there, to be honest with you. I've had those too. I've had moderators that they just start blocking people that they don't like and stuff, and I never blocked them, and then I get blamed for it in the emails, and I have to have them, and then those moderators I've removed, and then they go out and bitch and complain everywhere they go. Scary times. But when they're right now, after I said that, they'll deny it, even though I know for factually that they did that. I don't think, it's just possible that Lauren doesn't even know. Judy, they're all over the place, man. You got to open your eyes a little bit. It's incredible. Put a 1 if you've seen any YouTubers out there bashing my channel. It's like the most common thing in the world. I'm the most hated true crime YouTuber there is, mainly because I don't allow the conspiracy nut jobs to call in. I actually had 2 calls 2 days ago. One of them was the video that Libby took at the end of the bridge, with the bridge guy on it is fake. It's a fake video. Gray, why don't you let him talk, you bastard? And then the next one is, hey, Gray, the mayor. I mean, I always thought the mayor was an interesting guy. But the cases right now is against Richard Allen. They come in and start blaming the mayor, talking about all this bull crap from before, you know, and I just hang up. I don't have time for it. Now on other channels, it's really fun and neato to keep, you know, expanding on complete garbage because it's more entertaining for people. For me, I don't feel like this is entertainment. It's like, for me, it's we're looking into something. Trying to figure something out. Doesn't that make sense? I think it's because you always ask for money. People don't understand. Yeah, I know. The thing is, yeah, I do. When I'm on my channel, I go, hey, everybody, if you can help support the channel, that would be great. And yes, I get very frustrated on a night where I put in the same effort, work really hard, and people aren't supporting the channel, even with hundreds and hundreds of people watching. Yes, it's frustrating. It's frustrating as hell. Yes. Okay. You know, it's like you're making the same meal for everybody, but tonight nobody's paying for a meal or helping support or tipping or something. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but if there was some sort of thing with YouTube where they gave you a certain amount every single time, it'd be different. Nobody would care. Just like ad revenue. Nobody would care. Hey, no problem, Fig Saw. Hey, have you been following the trial, Fig Saws? We should do another show together at some point. I know it's been kind of hard since it's not televised, but... Hey, thank you so much, Maureen Gray. I have watched you since 2017. Your detail and thorough covering and commitments to this case speaks for itself. Richard Allen is the guy, 100%. Will they convict him? No. Horrible prosecution. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they will convict him. I don't think it's a horrible prosecution either. They're just working with what they got. Yeah, and you know the thing is that's the whole thing. Yeah, what's frustrating, like what Sharon was just saying, is the thing that makes our channel different than everybody else, and what makes it so that we actually make a difference, is that we have given out of the income to the channel. So you guys donate and everything, and then after I pay the taxes and everything, this channel's given away $217,000 to true crime related charities, DNA Fund, etc. I mean, I've gone over it a million times since January of 2020 in a 5-year period. I mean, that's ludicrous almost. That's almost like an average of 50,000, you know, I don't know, like 40-something thousand dollars a year. And without all the support, that doesn't happen. Like if I was just doing my channel and every bit of the money came from ad revenue and so forth, I'd still donate, you know, a couple thousand a month or something. But because you guys are sending in super chats, I add a huge percentage of the super chats goes to the true crime related charities. All right, so unfortunately other channels don't do that at all, and they don't get see, I'm supposed to give every nickel of everything to charity, but the channels who give nothing get to keep everything and they don't get complained about. Isn't that weird? That's one of the weirdest things you've ever heard of in your life. Anyways, let me get back to this though. All right. Mullen brings up the February 2017. Allen says he was at his mom's house in Peru, Indiana. Interesting. That's where Keegan Kline and his father live. And they were associated with the case, Keegan Kline was, because he had a catfishing account that communicated with Libby's phone. And isn't it interesting that Allen's in the same area on the morning of the homicides? In fact, he was there at 11:15. He rushes home, or he goes home, and he would get home by, you know, approximately 12:10 or so, and then he would have to go inside the house, get his blue jacket, probably made it to the bridge by 12:30. Well, he said, you know, that's if he did it like that. He said he got there at 12 and left at 1:30. But the reality is he got there at 1:30 and he left at 3:30, just like he told Dan Doolin just after the homicides, where his memory is quite a bit better than it would have been, right? Let's see. Alan says he didn't go out all that often, but that is verified, and that he had... Okay. Alan says he didn't go out... Well, let me move up. I missed this sentence. Alan said he walked down to the high bridge, went out a little bit on the platform, and watched the fish. Alan says that he left. He says he parked either on the bridge side or near a small bridge. Liggett shows him a map of the area. Mullen explains where things are on the map. So I wonder if that clarified where he parked. Hey, thanks WNC Granny. I've been trying to send this for 10 minutes. I finally had to restart my computer to get it to go through. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, everybody, restart your computers really quick. Come on, everybody, restart your computer. Everybody, restart your computers immediately. Anyways, thank you, WNC Granny. Alan says he didn't go out all that often, but that it varied, and that he had gone out a time or two. I guess meaning out onto the bridge. Or, I don't know, in the winter months, I guess. Mullen asked Alan if there was any other way he would have driven to get there. Alan says maybe, but really they always took the same route through downtown, which would mean he would have been coming from the west. Alan says he was driving downtown a few days after the girls died when Dan Doolin called, or the DNR officer called, and they agreed to meet at Save-A-Lot. Alan said he thought about it a lot because he was probably there around them. Okay. So this is where Save-A-Lot, this is CVS Pharmacy right here. And Save-A-Lot is right there. And here's what Save-A-Lot looks like. Man, you guys get all the bells and whistles over here, don't you? I mean, it's like, what are you missing? Nothing. So there's Save-A-Lot. Right there. I doubt there's 2 Save-A-Lots in Delphi, Indiana with 3,000 people. This is a July 2015 street view, by the way. Now, it is kind of interesting. You know, you can... let me fix that. Bing. Turn that off again. And that. And if you go down to the CVS Pharmacy, and you go to Street View, like you can only go to there. You know, this is a September 2022. So interestingly, Richard Allen would still be working there because he was arrested in October of 2022. And you kind of wonder, I mean, I don't know if that's his vehicle over there or, you know, what's going on, but kind of looked a little bit like that. You know, his car could literally be parked in this parking lot at this time. Yeah. You don't know. And we could probably do a historical street view, and you could, you know, I think there was one that we saw that was back in around 2000, I don't know if it was 2017 or... Gray, I just want to hear about the court hearing. Mullen brings up February 2017. Allen tells investigators in the video that he worked at CVS since 2013 and previously worked at the location in Peru. He says he worked for Walmart for 10 years. Mullen brings up February 2017. Allen says he was at his mom's house in Peru. I think we're down here. Allen says he didn't go out all that often. Mullen asked Allen if there were any other way he would have driven to go there. Allen says maybe, but really they always took the same route. Allen says he was driving downtown a few days after the girls died when a DNR officer called and they agreed to meet at a Save-A-Lot. Allen says he thought about it a lot because he was probably there around them. Alan says he told Doolin he saw 3 girls. He thought one was babysitting 2 of the girls, and he thought they all looked alike. News 8 Kyla Russell reports at this point in the courtroom, Richard Allen is shaking his head. In the video, Allen said there were 2 cars at the end of the trail near the entrance. Not sure what that means. A sedan and an SUV. Allen says he left at around 1 to 1:30, maybe 1:45. Let's see. Allen says in the video that he worked, and guess what? It's impossible again, because the 3 girls that he says he saw, they got there at like 12:20, walked all the way to the bridge, and were at the bridge at 12:43, effectively clearing the trail, never seeing him. Then they walked back to the, they get near that bench at 1:26, still didn't see him. And then they finally see him as he's coming in after that. Allen says in the video that he worked at Walmart community event near the trails years ago, and also worked near the Carrollton Bridge on that community service day. Allen says there were no vehicles where he parked on February 13th, 2017. Well, that makes sense. By the old building. Mullen, how far out on the bridge he went that day? He said he wasn't sure how many feet it was, but really never went past that first platform. And remember, he said he went out on the platform, but then later he says he never went past the first one. That means he was on platform 1. There you go. That's what logic dictates. Because earlier he said he went out on one of the platforms, but then he said he never went past the first platform. So now that matches what Betsy Blair says out of his own mouth. Does that make sense to everybody? Liggett asked how and where he walked to get on the bridge. Allen doesn't give a clear answer. Allen explains he had a red Ford car before he got the black car. Mullen again asked about him seeing 3 girls. Allen says he did not see anyone else while on the trails, and he was walking towards the girls. And sometimes when I read some of these articles, I'm not sure what their bias is, so you're never sure what they leave out. And that's why I think it's important to read somebody that takes great notes and has the whole thing, because there's also we're going to read this other article that seems to have some different information in it. Liggett asks how and where he walked to get to the bridge. Allen doesn't give a clear answer. Allen explains he had a red Ford car before he got the black car. Mullen asks again about him seeing 3 girls. Allen says he did not see anyone else while he was on the trails, and he was walking towards the girls. I don't really remember seeing anyone that day, he said. If I did, they didn't stand out to me. You mean like Betsy Blair? Allen says in the video that he had an individual stock trading account and was trying to get rich. Hey, but Richard Allen, your phone didn't ping out there that day, so how were you looking at the stock ticker? Allen says in the video that was a hobby, I guess, for me, referring to the question about stocks. Mullen asked what he was wearing that day. Allen said he was wearing blue jeans and a back-off brand Carhartt jacket. And a back-off brand. What does that mean? What is back-off brand? I don't know what that means. And a back-off brand Carhartt jacket. Oh, so it's not I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Liggett asked in the video if he was wearing a hat. Allen said that if he was, it would have been the skull cap he kept in his jacket pockets. Alan says he was wearing either tennis shoes or combat boots or work boots. Mullen is seen texting during the interview. Mullen asks Alan about Mullen asks Alan about what phone he had in 2017. Alan says he doesn't know, but he's had his current phone for several years. All right, hold on a second. I'll be back in a second. Oh, knockoff. Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm back. Got to eat an apple though. I forgot to eat today yet. It was 12:09. I was feeling like I was crashing. It's weird though. Look at these apples are so fresh. Watch this. It's crazy. Watch. Have you ever seen anything like that? It's amazing. Thanks, CR. Yeah, he did it though, William. Ah, man, that hurt like hell. Telling you what. I eat the Honey Crisp. I mean, these are the best there ever was. Sieb said it sounds like wood. Go to the dentist, old man. Now, that's one of the worst troll attempts I've ever seen, man. Be better than that, man. Yes, it's a sound effect. Obviously. My God, you guys. No, when I bite my finger, it sounds like this. Come on, you guys. You guys are ridiculous. I mean, come on. Jeez, of course. I knew it, like you're geniuses. Are you kidding? Every bite sounds exactly the same, for God's sakes. Hey, do you think Kathy Allen believes he's a killer? I bet she does. Yeah. I do. I think she knows. Alright, anyways, let's get back to this right here. My God, you guys. Gray, is that real? Yeah, when I bite my finger, it sounds like you're... Okay. Yeah, just amazing. Here we go.
don't know why. It just it keeps making me laugh. Yeah, I think his voice sounds the same. Ginger snaps. Ginger snaps. Hey, there's a wheelchair coming up. Down the hill. But I'd like to know what he sounds like in court. Can you picture him saying, guys, down the hill? Really? You guys thought that was real? Every single bite sounds exactly the same? Alright, anyways, let's get back. Where were we? Oh yeah, so maybe it says knockoff brand of Carhartt jacket. Liggett asked in the video if he was wearing a hat. Alan said that if he was, it would have been a skull cap he kept in his jacket pocket. Alan says he was wearing either tennis shoes or combat boots or work boots. Mullen is seen texting during the interview. Mullen asked Alan about what phone he had in 2017. Alan says he doesn't know, but he had his current phone for several years. Liggett asks if Alan had a photo of his car and if they can confirm some of the information by searching his home and extracting data from his current phone. They ask if they can do that immediately. Alan asks, how long are you going to have my phone? Liggett asks what service provider he has, and Alan says he uses Ting, based on Verizon, T-I-N-G. Liggett asks what service provider he had in 2017. Alan says they can extract that information from his current phone. Mullen reads another round of Miranda rights as it pertains to cell phone extraction. So Alan says in the video, so Alan was read his Miranda rights twice during this interrogation. Alan says in the video, I don't want to be someone else's fall guy. I thought we were talking. I haven't thought about this in a long time. Bullshit. I don't want you guys to get someone I don't want you guys to get someone from the public so we can close this thing. What does that mean? Jesus. Alan says, starting to feel like you think I am the main lead here, Liggett says. We decided to pick through this from the very beginning. There's no fall guy. If you think I might have actually done this and you want to get a warrant or something, that's fine, Alan says. Alan agrees to let them look through his current phone and says he will look for the phone he had in 2017. You know, the phone that's missing amongst a treasure trove of old phones. Amazingly, the only phone he can't find is the one he was using the day of the homicides. But that doesn't mean anything, right? Common sense, people. Common sense. Gray, isn't it possible, though, that he just lost it after that? I mean, gee. Then why is he looking for it? If he said he lost it way back then, he could never find it. Why would he go home and look for it? Well, that's a good point, Gray, but Alan says Alan agrees to let them look through his current phone and says he will look for the phone he had in 2017, because obviously he's been looking for it for a long time, but he thinks he might miraculously find it. Alan decides not to sign anything until he speaks with his wife. Alan says in the video, am I an angel of a person? No, but I guess I just want... Am I an angel of a person? No, but I guess I just don't want you looking through every website I ever checked. Now, I'll have to admit, if I got arrested for something, I think my computer would look like I was a serial killer. I mean, because every case I look up, I look up a million different things, type in this and that and the other thing. That's just the way it is, right, when you're a true crime YouTuber. But Richard Allen isn't a true crime YouTuber. He's nothing. He's just some random guy, right? I think everybody that's into true crime Not just one case, but if you're into true crime in terms of, I've covered thousands of cases on this channel. And because of that, you have this huge array of stuff, you know. And so that's what's kind of weird, but yeah, they got like a ton of phones from his home, but guess what they didn't get? The 2017 phone he was using on that day. Isn't that amazing? The same phone that he gave the MEI number to Dan Doolin on the 18th, so we know he lost it after the 18th because he went, oh shit, he got me at my MEI number. So he probably got rid of the phone at that point. And it turns out his phone wasn't pinging on the bridge that day when it necessarily would have had to. Right? It would have had to. I'm not sure what you're talking about, William. I would even know what phone. Oh god, what a ridiculous comment. Here we go, everybody. I wouldn't even know what phone I had in 2017 or where it was, though. Yeah, except this is the phone that he just talked to Dan Doolin about and said, yeah, here's my MEI numbers. And it was the phone he was using during the homicides, and all of a sudden it's the only phone missing out of a treasure trove of 15 or 20 phones that he's got at home. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, you can believe whatever you want, all right? I didn't know trolls come out. Ah, no, it's weird. They're out in the daytime. Strange stuff, strange stuff. Great, just because they have another opinion doesn't mean... No, you're just full of crap. Do you get it? Do you understand? I just explained it. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll check that one out too. So anyways, if you think I might have actually done this and you want to get a warrant or something, that's fine, Alan said. Alan agrees to... Thanks, Cheryl. Alan agrees to let them look through his current phone and says he will look for the phone he had in 2017. So obviously he remembers the phone that he had in 2017. Alan decides not to sign anything until he speaks with his wife. Alan says... In the video, am I an angel of a person? No, but I guess I just don't want you looking through every website I ever checked. He says he's worried they will find pieces close to fitting and making it fit. See, he knew. Yeah. Thanks, Muddy Paws. I don't think you're coming after me, Alan says. I want closure for the family as much as anyone else, I'm sure. Yeah. News 8, Kyla Russell reports that Kathy Allen is pretty upset watching this. Allen says in the video that he would not want people going through their home. We're here because we haven't found the guy who did this. I don't want to become that guy. Allen says, there's nothing to tie me. I'm not worried. And by the way, whoever mentioned the WTHR, Ryan, can you email me the link so I don't have to look for it? So here's my email right there and in the chat. Can you email me that article that you're talking about? I can't listen to or watch their video, but if it's an article, I can read that. Thank you, Muddy Paws. And... Right, what website? Somebody posted, oh, they ruled that you can't use them, and I haven't heard that today. I don't think the judge would have ruled that the searches are inadmissible. You know, I remember that in the Trayvon Martin case. They actually, the text messages on Trayvon Martin's phone were ruled inadmissible because it's possible someone else could have picked up his phone and used it. And they were just so damning, the text messages. You know, even though everyone, you know, Zimmerman's a pile of crap, right? The text messages were so damning, and they were ruled inadmissible. Like somebody else grabbed his phone and started texting? What? It's just unreal. No, I don't know. Somebody typed that they were ruled inadmissible, but... I haven't seen anything. That would have been a headline somewhere. I haven't seen it. If anybody hears that, let me know. But they just put it in the comments section. I don't know the shadow files. Just use common sense, man. Please. Just once in your life. Hey, Madeline, Anima. Hello, Gray. Nice to see you live. I'm from Romania. Hold on. Alright, I'm from Romania. I watch you every day, but I rarely catch you live. For me, you are the best. Thank you. Awesome. See, I am world known, you guys. What do you mean you're too long? You're no, you just right click on it and you. I won't be able to find it. I don't have time to dig around and stuff. Do you think they have 1,000 different articles? You just right click on the URL and you put it in an email and paste it, even if it's long. It doesn't matter. You just. And thank you for the nice comment there, Madalena. And WNC Granny Gray Hughes investigates why did his defense attorney put his arms around him during testimony yesterday. Was he afraid he would jump up and say, "That's not the way it." That would have been funny though, WNC Granny. That's not what I said to the girls. I said down the pill. I handed him a pill and had him try to eat it, but I mean, wait a minute, I wasn't there. Yeah, I get it now. Yeah, I get it. Alan says, there's nothing to tie me. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I had nothing to do with it. If I had anything useful to you, I would give it to you. Give it to you. Anything I had. Unless you did it, of course, right? Welcome, Ryan. Mullen explains in the video why they want to look at his car. Alan asks about watching Dateline every week with his wife and doesn't want to be that story on Dateline. Alan says to the investigators, this is out of left field, guys. No. This is out of left field, guys. I'm going to talk to my wife before I do anything. This impacts her more than it impacts me. Mullen and Liggett step out of the room. Alan checks his phone. Then they return and show him photos of his car going to the trail. That meaning the one that's on the Hoosier Harvester camera, the vehicle matching the description and rims of the 2016 black Ford Focus. Mullen says, we've been able to talk to your wife and daughter. Mullen says his wife and daughter describe Alan's mental health issues. Mullen shows Alan a picture of Bridge Guy. Mullen asks, is this you? Alan says, I was going to shoot myself one night. I don't have psychological issues because I went out and killed 2 girls. Okay. All right, so you had psychological issues, and that's why you went out to kill the 2 girls? Or what? I don't get what you're saying. News 8's Kyla Russell reports Alan's wife, Kathy, is crying and sobbing in the courtroom as this portion of the video plays. Poor Kathy. Mullen asks in the video, why is this information showing us one thing, but you're saying another? Alan says it feels like he's being interrogated. What info do you have, he asks. You have that I was out there. I told you that. After a cut in the video, Liggett says, we have people that saw you. Liggett then leaves the room. Alan says, you're trying to change my words around, Mullen asks. The question is this you? Alan replies, no. See, this outlet intentionally left out the follow-up statements. Mullen says in the video, you were out there to do this to the girls. Were you out there to do this to the girls, or were you trying to introduce them to someone? Alan continues to deny. Alan says, arrest me or take me home. I'm done. You're not going to find anything that connects me to the murders. You've lost my trust. Now you've pissed me off. You're an expletive, they said in the video. Alan gets up and leaves. And then News 8, Kyla Russell says, at this point in the courtroom, there is laughter. Now, is that good or bad? Are they like laughing like, you go get him, Richard? You go get him! I sure as hell hope not. Alright, now we go up to the next part up here. Court returns from recess at 11:05 a.m. The jury is shown a video of interview from October 26, 2022. What are you talking about, Rat, with Fupa? People like you, man. Why does that pop into your head? It's ridiculous. Anyways, the jury is shown a video of an interview from October 26, 2022. In the video, Holman is interviewing Alan. He tells Alan what they took from the house and what is being tested. He tells Alan they took swabs from a lot of items according to News 8 Kyla Russell. Holman asks Alan if he has ever loaned any of his items, like the gun, to anyone where DNA could have transferred. He also asks Alan if he had the gun on him when he went to the trails on February 13th. Alan said he did not. In the video, Holman tells Alan that the Sig Sauer matched the cartridge from the crime scene. Alan laughs in apparent disbelief and says he doesn't need to read the ballistic report. There's no way, he tells Holman in the video. I'm on your side, Holman says to Alan. Holman asks Alan about saying it's over during the search. So remember when Holman, yes, this is when Holman's interviewing. The damage is done, Alan replies. Holman then tells Alan the media will portray him in a certain way and asks, are you the mastermind? So this is when they thought the Kleins might be involved. Mastermind? Okay. He asks Holman if he realizes what he's going through, telling him he has anxiety and all kinds of stress. Alan adds, there's no way round from my gun was anywhere near the girls or the bridge. He continues, go ahead and do what you're going to do. Anybody who knows me knows I could never, if I wanted to, that's not me. Holman tells Alan the science doesn't lie and that the death penalty is online. Alan says he doesn't care. In the video, Holman tells Alan he was the last one to contact the girls. Alan denies the claim, saying he didn't even know them, according to Russell. Go ahead and kill me. You'll make my wife rich. Huh? Oh, because of life insurance, maybe? Alan says. At this point in the video, Holman leaves the room. Alan remains seated and looks around. News 8 Kyla Russell says crime scene photos were on the table, but Alan did not look at them after Holman left the room. Holman comes back with a man who swabs Alan's mouth and lips for DNA. Alan did not object to being swabbed, Russell says. The man taking the DNA sample leaves the room. Ball is in your court, Holman tells Alan when they're alone. Holman says they have more evidence from the bullet. He says Alan is bridge guy, and there are 5 witnesses saying he was there. And I guess that would be the 3 girls, Sarah Carbaugh and Betsy Blair. So it's interesting, isn't it interesting, you guys, that the prosecutions had that information all those years, you know? Yeah, somebody blocked that rat with Fupa dipshit. They're just one of the dumb, the trolls that show up out of nowhere for no particular reason at all. They have nothing to say that's worth a damn, That's mean, Gray. He said, Hail Odin, F off, Gray. After using the N-word 2 minutes, typing N-word. Like as if that's what Richard Allen said to... I mean, give me a break, you guys. I knew that they were a troll once they made that comment. Right? This is my channel, okay? I mean, it's just the way it is. If you come in here and you say stupid shit and rude shit towards the channel or anything like that, you're just removed immediately. If you want to email me later and explain it all away, apologize, and I'll unblock you. I've done it many times, okay? That's just the way it is. I don't have to listen to or take it from you guys. You know what I mean? So I just don't give a shit. You know? Just the way it is. Holman says they have more evidence from the bullet. He says Alan is bridge guy, and then down here it says, hey, thank you, Elise Defense. Down here it says, Alan says, I'm not telling you I did something I didn't effing do. Right, but then later, guess what he does? He confesses. So right here he says, I'm not telling you I did something I didn't effing do. There's nothing you have to implicate me because I wasn't out there. Your conscience is trying to tell you to get out in front of this, said Holman. Exactly. That's actually why he got a hold of Dan Doolin on the 16th after his image was in the paper on the 15th. Alan said, if you're going to arrest me, arrest me. I'm done talking. Nothing you have is going to show me anywhere near the murder of the little girls. Holman, yeah, that's right, because you know how you know that, Richard Allen? Because you got rid of your phone, and your phone wasn't even there that day. Holman leaves the room. He returns and tells Allen that witnesses saw him with a gun on February 13, 2017. I told you. I was on the trail. I didn't tell you I was at the murder scene. Yeah, the problem is, Richard Allen, you are a bridge guy. Allen responds, I'm not going to tell you something that didn't happen so you can feel better about this. And yet you confess almost 60 times while you're in prison later. So I guess apparently you did do it, so you confess. In the video, Alan's, no, Gray, it's because he had mental illness. Don't you get it? You mean the guy that was exercising, reading books, doing great? Until he interviewed, until he had a phone call with his wife and mother, and during the phone call he confessed, and his wife told the attorneys, and then all of a sudden Richard Allen became a lunatic. I know, isn't that ridiculous that they say they can't see his mouth move? That's because when you see him in the video, he's about 55 feet away in that video, okay? That's why you can't see his mouth move. He says it when he gets close to them, but she's not filming his face. But you still see him catching up to Abby, and you hear the crunching of his feet at the end of the bridge, and it is him, okay? People are using mental gymnastics to try to make it appear that Richard Allen isn't bridge guy, but it's not reasonable to believe he isn't, okay? It's not reasonable to believe that Richard Allen isn't bridge guy at all. And not one person has been able to call in or say a damn thing that has even remotely shown any possibility that it's not him. They just go, it's not him, Grant, it's not him. He said he got there at 12 and he only went, okay, it's not him. All right, Holman leaves the room. He returns and tells Alan that witnesses saw him. Okay, where were we at? In the video, Alan says his wife will tell police he would never do this. I told you I was on the trail. I didn't tell you I was at the murder scene. I'm not going to tell you something that didn't happen so you can feel better about this. In the video, Alan says his wife will tell police he would never do this. Wow, it sounds like you've already been colluding with her. In the courtroom, Alan's wife, Kathy, nods her head, right, because you talked about it, right? I've already told my wife, say that I would never do something like this. The very day, and remember there was an incident at Richard Allen's house of a domestic violence. Interesting. Prior, you know. The very day police asked for people to come forward about being there, I did. Yeah. Oh my God, you got it. I'm like the Kreskin. I am absolutely, it's too bad that everybody isn't following this channel, because look what I said. Watch this right here. On the 15th of February, that's when this article is, from Fox 59, 15th of February 2017, law enforcement put out this image right here. And guess what I said on the show 2 days ago and yesterday? I said, in this article, it says investigators want to talk with him about what he may have seen, referring to this person. Then Richard Allen saw himself, and he called the tip line the very next day. And it sounds like he's saying exactly that. I told you I was on the trail. I didn't tell you I was murdered. And it says, in the courtroom, Allen's wife, okay. The very day police asked for people to come forward about being there, I did. And right here it says, hey, we want to talk with this guy about what he may have seen. Right? And the very next day he calls in because he is that guy. That's hilarious. He calls in after this comes out, and he calls in on the 16th. It's hilarious. I mean, that's just freaking nuts. Exactly what I told you guys. The very day police asked for people to come forward about being there, I did. Allen tells Holman in the interview video. Allen continues to say that Holman is trying to trick him. Holman again leaves the room. Allen appears emotional and shakes his head. When he returns to the room, Holman says Allen's depression has gotten worse since the murders. If I murdered 2 girls, I'd have depression too, Holman tells him. I did not murder 2 girls, Allen replies. Holman asks Allen about his gun. Allen replies and says he carries his gun only when he goes night fishing or mushroom hunting. At this point, Holman, who has returned to the witness stand, tells the court, At this point, Holman, who has returned to the witness stand, tells the court he isn't lying to Allen, but that he told him several lies as a tactic. So he is lying, but they're a tactic. I mean, he's not lying like... I mean, it was an intentional lie, tactically. What? The comments in other channels are insane. I don't like where this is going. He is bridge guy, end of it. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is the general public, for some reason, there's been so many people that have hated on the small town law enforcement, and they've sort of used Richard Allen as this fall guy of their own. It's really strange. So they've all championed a child killer. It's amazing. I don't really, the thing is if the jury is made up of half of the idiots that are following this case, it'll be a hung jury. Okay? If they come back with a not guilty, then it just means our society is in trouble, because Richard Allen is the bridge guy. And I don't really, at this point, if I was on the jury at this point, the rest of it's just gravy. Like, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, that is Richard Allen right there. In the video, Holman says, I can't present the evidence to a jury of your peers before leaving again. Let's see. Holman asks Allen about his gun. At this point, Holman, who has returned to the witness stand, tells the court he is lying to Allen, but that he told him several lies as a tactic. In the video, he isn't lying, he said. He is, but it was a tactic, so it's not like he's just lying. In the video, Holman says, I can't present this evidence to a jury of your peers before leaving again. Holman returns a short time later, tells Allen his wife Kathy wants to talk to him, and goes to get her. So this might be the important part. What kind of good person kills 2 people, Allen asks. Russell says that at this point in the interview, Allen had not been read his rights. Okay, that's what they're saying, but that's just because it wasn't on tape. On Saturday, Holman testified that the reading of Miranda rights was not recorded. In the video, Kathy Allen enters the room and hugs her husband. It's going to be all right, Allen tells his wife. He tells her that he can't believe, she thinks he committed the murders. She thinks? I wonder if that's a typo right there. You know me. You know this isn't something I could do, Alan says. I'm not going to sit here and convince you. I know you know I didn't do this. Kathy Allen asks her husband how the bullet from his gun ended up at the crime scene, adding, they are going to come after you, and I don't know how to answer that. So wait, so this part, I hope if that's not a typo, that's pretty damning. Where was that? He tells her that he thinks, he can't believe that she thinks he committed the murders. Wow, that's crazy if that's what actually was said there. A lot of typos happen on this Wish TV, though. They aren't getting away with this, Allen says. At this point, Richard Allen looked back at his wife in the courtroom and winked, according to Russell. Oh, Jesus. Kathy Allen says again in the video that she can't understand where the bullet came from. Richard Allen tells his wife to say she wants an attorney, and then they will let him leave. Right? You see that? So he knew what his Miranda rights were. Right there. The video cuts to Holman back in the interview room, so they must have removed a portion of it there, with Richard Allen, with Kathy Allen, with Richard and Kathy Allen. So he comes back and they're all in there. Richard Allen asks Holman to let Kathy leave, and the two hug, and she prepares to leave. Holman tells Kathy to tell her husband to do the right thing. As she leaves the room, Holman exits the room and returns a short time later. So he probably went out and talked to her. You're going to pay for what you're doing with my wife, Allen tells him. In the video, Holman screams at Allen. Arrest me, Allen tells Holman. Happy to, you're effing guilty, and I'm going to prove it, Holman reports. The video ends just after 12:45 p.m. Court is adjourned at 12:50 for a break. They were expected to reconvene at 1:45. Let me see if they've already have a new update in here. Let's see. No, not yet. All right, here's the Fox 59 version. It says the footage included Allen and Steve Mullen, the former Delphi police chief who works as an investigator for the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. In the footage, Mullen read Allen his rights, and Allen signed. This is the earlier video, the one on the 13th. Mullen and Liggett mentioned the interview Allen gave to DNR officer Dan Doolin in February of 2017. They told him they're going back to the beginning of the case and suggested they're just trying to rule him out. Allen told the pair he served in the Army National Guard and lived much of his life in Mexico, Indiana. He worked as a store manager at Walmart and believes he started at CVS in 2013. When asked to recount the events of February 13, 2017, Allen said he went to his mother's house in the morning. He remembered it was a warm day. He went home to get a jacket and walked on the trails. He estimated he left his mother's house at around 11:15 and arrived on the trails at around 12. That's impossible. Absolutely impossible. He seemed confused about where he parked his car. When asked about his route, he said, the way that loops around. When asked if he would have taken another route, he didn't answer. Allen said he told his wife he was on the trails. After the murders, she mentioned that police were looking to talk to people who may have information. That's bullshit. You know that he knew, he was aware. Allen went to the sheriff's office, setting up the tip that led to his interview with DNR officer. He was trying to get ahead of it. He thought he was busted, and he was shocked for 5 years. During his videotaped interview, Allen said he left the trail at 1:30, 1:45. He told Liggett and Mullen there were 3 girls he passed while walking on the trail. He told investigators there were no other vehicles where he parked. He went out to platform on the Monon High Bridge to look at fish. I've been across the High Bridge when it was in better shape, he told them. Hey, everybody, hit that like button for me. We literally only have 336 likes with 1,000 people watching. So, hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30. Hit that like button, 40, 45, 50. Hit that like button, 50, 55, 60. Use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows. Hit that like button, 20, 45, 50, 55, 60. Hit that like button. It's one of the easiest damn things to do in the world. You just click the like button. Hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. Gray, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me to hit that like button. Gray, you bastard. Don't tell me what to do. Gray, you bastard. Don't tell me what to do. Just hit the like button, you bastard.
30 now 5. I'm 35.
All right, there you go. Great. Believe it or not, you guys, in the comments section, people will literally type after I play that and say, "Great, don't tell me what to do. If I want to hit the like button, I will, you bastard." God, grow up, you wacko. Hey, thank you, Sybil Bergeron. Well, you grow up too, Gray. Why do you sound like that when you're doing your voices? Hey, thanks, Sybil Bergeron. We just lost 20 viewers just now, you guys. You know, the people that wouldn't hit the like button. Yeah, anyways. Yeah. Look, you guys, I try to deploy a little humor on this channel. We just lost 40 viewers because they are not going to be told to hit that like button no matter what. You know, you guys sound like Richard Allen. You sound a bit like Richard Allen. It's very simple, though. You just take your finger out and you press the freaking like button. If you don't have any fingers, use your nose, use your toes, maybe even whatever blows, but hit the damn like button, please. All right, anyways. So Diner says, during his videotape interview, Allen said he left the trail at 1:30, maybe 1, maybe 1:30, maybe 1:45. I mean, okay, well, what time is it, okay? Couldn't have been 1, Richard Allen. Couldn't have been 1, buddy. He told Liggett and Mullen there were 3 girls he passed while walking on the trail. He told investigators there were no other vehicles where he parked. Yes, there are no vehicles normally parked at the abandoned CPS building. It's just sort of an overflow place when there's a lot of people. Some people will park there. He went out to platform on the Monon High Bridge to look at fish. I've been across the High Bridge when it was in better shape, he told them. Liggett and Mullen asked him, so he had been across the bridge before, everybody. Wow. He actually has been across that bridge when it was in better shape. So he feels absolutely comfortable crossing that bridge. Liggett and Mullen asked him which car he drove to the trails. He said he normally drove a gray Ford 500, but took a black car when he went out of town. So I guess even when he went out of town a couple miles, boy, we got to switch to the black car. Investigators believe he drove his black 2016 Ford Focus. I don't really remember seeing anyone else that day, he said. If I did, they didn't jump out at me. I wonder if they tested the other vehicle. Allen said he kept an eye on a stock ticker on his phone while walking on the trail. When he left, look at that. Allen said he kept an eye on a stock ticker. Well, guess what that means, everybody? That means his phone was connecting to a cell tower while he was walking on the trails, if what he's saying is true. But guess what? His phone is nowhere to be found on any of the ping information. They got every single phone that pinged off of those towers, and his phone wasn't one of those. So he is lying about that. Gray, don't whistle in my ear. I had the volume turned up because you... Oh my God, you guys. Just read the comments sometimes. I don't remember seeing... I'll tell you what, I'll give you one to bitch about. Let me do this one. Where is that?
Stupid is being nice.
No, not that one. You're an absolute moron. How about this one? Where is it? Here. There it is. Alright, did that wake you guys up? And by the way, I have a bunch of Grady Judd lines on my sound effect board here. Now, these are what Grady Judd says. Watch, listen.
This guy may be like the dumbest person on the face of the earth. You know, that's just one step above stupid. Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains? Did you hear what I said? There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp. 5 brain cells, 4 aren't working.
God, almost every one of those things fits the wackos that are just Richard Allen, yay! During the videotaped interview, Allen said he left one there all at different times there. Liggett and Mullen, there were 3 girls he passed while walking on the trail. He told the investigators there were no other vehicles where he parked. He went out the platform on the Monon High Bridge to look at fish. So he went out on the first platform to look at fish. And you can see fish if you're up in the air there. I mean, if it was clear water, etc. So, I mean, that's just an excuse to say. And then Liggett and Mullen asked which car he drove to the trails. He said he normally drove the gray Ford 500. Obviously, you're going to say you normally drove the other one, but you know, well, he also took the black car when he went out of town. Investigators believe he drove his black 2016 Ford Focus. I don't really remember seeing anyone else that day, he said. So isn't it sort of interesting that he normally drives his gray car around, but on a day that 2 girls are murdered, he drives the car that he doesn't use as often, the black Ford Focus. But apparently he does drive that because it was backed in at work, too. I don't remember seeing anyone else that day, he said. If I did, they didn't jump out at me. Allen said he kept an eye on a stock ticker on his phone while walking on the trail. You know, the phone that he didn't have with him since it didn't ping off any tower. When he left, he said he went home to watch the stock market in order to try to get rich. Wait, see. He said when he went home to watch the stock market in order to get rich. Not sure what that means. Oh, you mean on the channel? But he says he kept an eye on the stock ticker on his phone while walking the trail. Okay. So that means while he was on the trail. Hey, thanks, Wendy Woobles. Gifted 5 memberships to Lucky Tammy Bailey, Elise Defense. We got Mr. TFI, Hey Red, and Social Fads. Am I a social fad? Or I guess it's social fade. Never mind. Allen feels like main lead. Mullen then asked to see Allen's phone. He asked how long they would need it, and and said they used Ting for cell phone service. He didn't think he still had his phone from 2017 and said he believed his wife recycled it. Right, the one phone, right? Why didn't she recycle all the other phones? Sounds like I'm going to be somebody's fall guy, Allen said after Mullen read his warrant to him. The conversation we're having, it seems like you think I might have done it. Allen said he wouldn't let investigators go through his car and house. I'm starting to feel like your main lead, he said. Liggett assured him they were just crossing T's and dotting I's as they talked to people who were on the trail on February 13th. Allen says he wasn't impugning the integrity of the investigators. I don't think Allen would use a word like impugning. I'm not going to have police going through my house. I guess that's just that's not a quote. So I was right. I'm not going to have police going through my house and stuff, he said. He initially gave police the code to his phone, and yeah, because it's the phone he has now, it has nothing to do with it. And then had second thoughts, telling them, you know what? Let me talk to my wife before we do anything. He should have said, let me talk to my attorney, because he knew that. Alan said he was no angel of a person, adding that he was like everyone else. Maybe I don't want you looking at every website I visited, he said. Mullen told Alan he wasn't trying to make life hard. Liggett echoed the point. I don't want you thinking we're coming after you, Liggett told him. I know I wasn't out there that, I know I wasn't out there that late on the trail, Alan said. Right. Yeah, see, his initial story was 1:30 to 3:30, and over the years he realized the importance of the time frame. So then he changed his story from 12 to 1:30. Unfortunately, the same three girls that saw him cleared the area during that time too. Oops. Mullen told Alan they wanted to search his home so they could rule him out. I had nothing to do with it, Alan responded. I don't want to be any more involved in it than I have to be. Mullen said they wanted to check his car for any biological fluids. Then we can say we looked at Rick, we looked at his car, we didn't find anything in his car, Liggett explained. At that point, Mullen and Liggett left, leaving Alan alone to look at his phone. Bridge guy denial. When they returned, Mullen informed Alan they have video of his car going to the trails. Mullen also revealed he talked to Alan's wife and daughter and learned he had some issues about hurting himself. Alan was then asked if he is Bridge guy. I've never met them, the girls, Alan said. He then revealed that he entertained suicidal thoughts before and was, listen to this, and was going to shoot himself at some point. It's not like I killed two girls and now I've got psychological problems, he said of his mental health issues. Liggett showed him a photo of a black car. That's your car, he said. After showing him a photo of Bridge guy, Mullen asked, is that you? He did say, that's not me, Alan said of the photo. If it's taken with the girl's phone, that is not me. Okay, so that is you, but if it was taken in some other way, then you would admit that it was you, but because it was taken by one of the girls, it can't be you, right? I get it. He's wearing the same clothing you told us, Liggett said. Just tell us what happened. This is your car. There is zero doubt. Isn't that weird? Look at this image they have on the screen right here. Isn't that the same? Look at that. February 15th, 2017. I think that's like the same exact one they're using right here. They just zoomed in a little bit. That's crazy. Wow. We're all done here, Alan responded. Your attitude towards me has changed. I feel like I'm being interrogated, he said. You were out there to do this to the girls or to introduce the girls to someone. That's when they were even they thought the Keegan Kline thing was in play, Mullen said, adding that Bridge guy followed the girls to the end of the bridge and forced them down the hill. You're not going to find anything to connect me to the murders. So I'm not worried about it, Alan said. Well, you forgot about the bullet that they found. So arrest me or... Yeah, see, here's the thing. When they interviewed him, they didn't have the bullet information. Because this was the 13th when they were doing the search at his home. And that's why Holman had that information in the information on the 26th. So at this point, Richard Allen didn't believe that they would have anything. Because he knew he destroyed the phone. And he knows he didn't have his phone with him. And he didn't realize that the bullet that he ejected would be able to be tied back to him because it wasn't fired through his gun. And he kept his gun because he didn't use the gun to kill the girls and thought that would never be an issue in the case. You got it? I mean, it's just all common sense, everybody. Use common sense. You're not going to find anything to connect me to the murders, so I'm not worried about it, Allen said. The video cut out and then returned. Are you arresting me? Are you arresting me? Allen asked, he said. You lost my trust. This is stupid. Now you're pissing me off. You're an a-hole. And he directed the comment to Mullen. After the interview ended, Allen was taken home. A few hours later, police arrived with a warrant and conducted a search of his property. See that? They hadn't even searched his property yet at this point. And this is when, when they finally do that, that's when he was in the car with Jerry Holman and he said, it doesn't matter, it's over, right? So he didn't realize that the bullet would match his gun with ejection marks. Now, isn't that amazing? He didn't know. All right, let's see. What is that one? WTHR 13. There it is. So if it's not something that just pops up on the front. Okay, this is probably it right here, right? All right, let's go through this one too. You guys want to do this one also? Maybe by going through most of these. And I heard at one point, what was it, that he said that he was going to shoot himself that day or something like that. I don't know where I read that. I didn't see it this time around, so maybe my brain just put that in there. But let's just go through this one. (11:11 a.m.) The state plays a recording of Indiana State Police Officer Jerry Holman. I think they might be doing it. Let's just start at the bottom and go up, I guess. So this is again the Liggett one. The state started the 10th day of trial. You can leave anytime you want, Mullen says at the start of the interview. This is October 13th, 2022. We just want to figure out what you saw when you were out there, Liggett says. The officer reviewed what Allen reportedly told DNR officer Dan Doolin during an interview in February of 2017. Allen gave the officers his name, age, address, and phone number. This recording is the first time in the trial Richard Allen's voice has been heard. Allen and the officers go through his background from high school onward. They discuss that Allen had a heart attack in 2010 and needed a couple of stents. He tells police he has depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. They also discuss Allen's employment history. I need to have more bites of my apple, though, you guys. So, hold on. Sorry. Here's the real sound. Listen. Pretty close, pretty close. And by the way, I think it does say Effinau. Now, people say it says Okinawa. I don't hear it, man. I don't hear it. It's a Effinau. Alright. Alright, got some bites into that apple. You can leave anytime you want, Mullen says. The two officers review what Allen reportedly told DNR officer Dan Doolin during an interview in February of 2017. Allen gave the officers his name, age, address, and phone number. This recording is the first time in the trial Richard Allen's voice has been heard. Allen and the officers go through his background from high school onward. They discuss that Allen had a heart attack in 2010 and needed a couple stints. He tells police he has depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. They also discuss Allen's employment history. Then the conversation turns to February 13th, 2017. Allen says he spent the morning in Peru with his mom. I think she actually lives in 4 miles north of Peru. But Allen says it was a warm day, and just always keep in mind that Keegan Kline lives in Peru. And he was a catfishing account that messaged the girls on the same weekend. Thank you, Circa then. He tells the police he does, so he stopped by his house to get a jacket on the way back, then went out on the trails. He tells police he does that about once a month. Allen tells police he went to the Monon High Bridge and looked at fish because I like fishing. Police ask Allen where he parked, but he has a hard time describing where he parked that day. I bet he does. The bridge side of things, Allen says. Yeah, so that makes sense. Mullen has Allen mark the spot on a map. Allen marks 2 places saying either there or there. Mullen asks Allen how he drove there. Allen says he doesn't know the road names. He just knows how to get there. Mullen asks Allen, how did you give your first statement? Allen says they were taking information from people who were there. He tells the officer he had told his wife he had been on the trail. Allen tells them he spoke with a DNR officer. Allen tells Mullen and Liggett he met Dan Doolin in a Save-A-Lot parking lot. We showed where that was earlier. It's right next to where he worked. That's the Save-A-Lot parking lot, and the CVS pharmacy is right there. So it's pretty close to where he worked. But you notice how each person that writes it leaves out certain things. Like, why did Wish TV leave out the part that he said, well, if the girl took the picture, it's not me. I don't know why they left that out. That's like the most important element. There were no vehicles where I parked, Allen says. Oh yeah, here you go. Then I didn't really see anybody, Allen says. Allen said he sat on a bench to look over the creek for a while. Yeah. At one point, he says. Allen says he saw cars parked at the Mears entrance. Allen says he used to park there. He says one time in 2006 he did a cleanup with Lafayette Walmart employees as a community project. There were no vehicles where I parked, he said. Yeah. But the thing is, when he parked at 1:30, well, I guess it's possible at 1:30, 1:20 something when he drove by, there could have been, I mean, we don't have any witnesses that there were cars parked across from Mears at that time. When asked about specific lot by the officer, Allen says, if that's where I told Doolin I parked, that's probably where I parked. But he's not saying, you guys, listen, so this is key. Listen to this. The, let's see. Said he parked at the, what was the name of that? The, what was the original place? Ah, shit. Man, I gotta pop out here. Oh, the Farm Bureau building. So you know the Farm Bureau building is downtown Delphi. Does anything he's saying right now slightly indicate at all that he parked there? No. He said he parked by an old building. He thought it was the old Farm Bureau building, but this is the only old building in the area right there, and this is sort of where people would park also. And he'd been there for years, so he knew the different places to park. And so this is where he parked, by the abandoned CPS building, not in downtown Delphi, because nothing he said remotely indicates that. And again, that's something the jury probably, you know, they need to listen, like, think through it. Alan said he sat on a bench to look over the creek for a while at one point. So that bench is likely at the intersection right there where you get out. So here's the thing. At this location right here, there's a bench. Right there, I think. I think that's even the bench. And that does look down right over the water. And that's right here. So that's where I always thought that the person was hanging out, interestingly. But I don't know how that fits into the story. I mean, I guess it's possible that, you know, when he got there at 1:30, you know, 1:33, 1:34, 1:35 or whatever, he's walking quickly, he gets to this area, and he sits there and waits for 3 or 4 minutes, but doesn't see anybody. Or maybe even 5 minutes. He sits there and looks down, doesn't see anybody, and then he continues on. Because here's the thing, everybody. The way I have it, without putting the bench in, he's right here at 1:35, and he walks this direction, and he gets to the bridge at 1:46. However, he could have, you know, even if he got there at 1:35 or 1:34 or whatever, 1:34 would give it more time. But if you walk kind of quickly, he could have sat here at the bench for 4 or 5 minutes looking down and then continued on, and he would be about right here when Betsy Blair came out. She couldn't see him now because she would be way back here. He's around the corner. And so maybe he's not quite to the bridge yet. So he could have sat there for 3 or 4 minutes. So it's definitely something he could have done. Why are people explaining to Cameron anything? You don't need to explain to Cameron anything that about eating an apple or anything. It doesn't matter, man. I'm just so over giving a shit what people think anymore. All right? I just don't care. You know, if you like me, you like me. If you don't watch my freaking show. All right? See you later. But if you want a place where you're actually going through with using common sense and factual information, then this is the place to be. Then I didn't really see anybody, Alan says. Alan said he sat on a bench to look over the creek for a while at one point. Alan says he saw cars parked at the Mears entrance. Alan says he used to park there. He said, and this is WTHR, this channel. He says he used to park there. He said one time in 2006 he did a cleanup with Lafayette Walmart employees. Wow, what a great guy, man. God, what are we doing? I mean, this guy helped clean up one time. He can't be a killer. There were no vehicles. There were no vehicles where I parked. Yes, the abandoned CPS building is sort of like the overflow. When asked about a specific lot by the officers, Alan says, if that's where I told Doolin I parked, that's probably where I parked. Mullen asked Alan how far out onto the Monon High Bridge. Let me ask you guys this. Here's something that's interesting that the law enforcement should look into, is how many times has Richard Allen been back to the bridge after the homicides? Like for the last 7 years, how often did he go to the bridge? You know, he didn't kill anybody, right? So he should have the same pattern that he normally had. Going out to the bridge, walking the trails. I would check his cell phone records and see if he ever went out there. I hadn't thought about that until just now. But I think that would be an amazing piece of information if they had it. How often did Richard Allen go out to the bridge after this? After the homicides, when he went out there all the time, you guys? I bet you he went there 0 times after that. Huh. I'm going to have to text that to somebody. Hold on 1 second. I'll do that a little bit later. But, yeah, that's definitely... I know, just sort of popped into my head right there. Interesting. Holman now you'll hear it on 15 different channels, and they'll pretend that they thought of it right out of their minds. That's how it works over here, you guys. Every single time. Let's see. Holman tells Allen he's on Allen's side. Wait, how do we get up to Holman? Oh, yeah, that skipped up there because of the... God, this is pretty long. Hold on a second. And I'm not sure what the hell happened here, but it just kind of threw me off of where I was. I was reading down here. It was the 9... There it was. Okay. When asked about a specific line... Yeah, Mullen asked Allen how far out onto the Monon High Bridge Allen went that day. Allen says he went onto the first platform that's stuck out to look at fish. So there you go. He's on the first platform. That's exactly where Betsy Blair saw him, when he should have been there, too. Allen says he had crossed the bridge years ago before it got so rough. Allen says he hit an SUV when he fell asleep in Peru and lost the car. Wait, what? Allen says he went the first time. Allen says he had crossed the bridge years ago before it got so rough. Allen says he hit an SUV when he fell asleep in Peru and lost the car. What car? That's why I bought the black car, Allen says. Oh, this is in reference to his 2016 Ford Focus. Allen says his wife drove it mostly, but he would drive it when he needed to. He says it had good fuel economy. Allen says he took the black car to visit his mom in Peru that day. Allen says one of the 3 girls he saw that day was older than the other 2. Isn't that interesting? So in this case, there's 2 15 or 16-year-olds, and then the other ones are like 12 and 13, and he likely just didn't see the other older one. So his description is very similar to what was going on. And one of them was either 9, it's either 9 or 12. I've heard both ages for the youngest person out of the 4. Allen says one of the 3 girls he saw that day was older than the other one. Hold on, I gotta send that text. I think it's too important. I don't want to not remember. All right. There we go. Allen says when he got back to his car, I didn't really interact. Okay, it says, Allen says one of the 3 girls he saw that day was older than the other 2. I didn't really interact with them, Allen says. He says he didn't remember seeing anyone else on the trail that day. Allen says when he got back to his car, there weren't any other cars in the lot. He tells police he spent part of the walk checking a stock ticker, which that phone never was detected on any sort of cell phone analysis from the cell tower. No, I'm using a Android flip phone. I got this. These are pretty cool phones, by the way. Have you guys ever seen one of these? Watch. See, Samsung makes these amazing, like that. Like it's the regular Android, but you flip it open. It fits in your pocket. The screen looks like that. It's pretty sweet. But if you have an Apple, you don't get one of those. Yes, Gray, we have one that folds into a full-screen computer. Yeah, it's no big deal, Sandy Shirley. I forgot about Cameron or anything, you guys, but you guys try to focus on what we're talking about, not the 20 minutes ago eating an apple, I didn't really interact with them, Alan says. He's talking about, Alan says, one of the 3 girls he saw that day were older than the other 2. I didn't really act with them, Alan says. He says he didn't remember seeing anyone else on the trail that day. Alan says that when he got back to his car, there weren't any other cars in the lot. He tells police he spent part of the walk checking his stock ticker. The stock, again, his phone didn't ping anywhere there because he doesn't have it with him. Trying to get rich, he said. That was like a hobby for me. Liggett asks Alan what he was wearing that day. Alan says he had on jeans and a jacket. So at this time in the interview, he didn't realize that, oh my God, yeah, they wouldn't be able to find my phone wouldn't be pinging there because I didn't have it with me, but, I was looking at my stock tickers. He says it probably would have been black and hooded at the time. He says he probably would have been black and hooded at the time. Alan says, that's just poorly worded in here. Alan says he always kept a skull cap hat in his coat pocket. Police ask what shoes Alan was wearing, and he says tennis shoes or military boots. Police ask how long, and remember the other one said, or work boots. Police ask how long Alan had his current phone, and Alan says, not long time. Mullen asks to examine Alan's phone to check his information. Alan asks how long they would have his phone. Mullen said they'd ideally like to get the phone he had that day. Police ask Alan to remember what phone he had in 2017. Alan says if we have it, my wife will know. Mullen says we can start with this one, if that's all right with you. Mullen reads Alan his rights before his search. When it comes time to put in a passcode, Alan says it sounds like I'm going to be somebody's fall guy. Mullen says we're trying to eliminate people from investigation. Alan says I don't want to be somebody's fall guy. Please don't think I'm questioning your integrity from this conversation. It's like you think I did it. Mullen says, with your permission, we'd like to look at your house. You'd need a warrant, Alan says. I'm not going to let anyone go through my house. Liggett says, we're back at the start and talking to everyone. It's nothing more than that. There's no fall guy. Alan says he won't let them look through his house, but agrees to let them look through his phone, but they got a warrant to look through his house on the very same day. Let me talk to my wife, Alan says. We don't want it to be associated with it. Am I an angel of a person? Hell no! I don't want you to looking at every website I've ever looked into. At one point, Alan says, I know you want closure for the family, but Liggett says, your original statement said you were there from 1:30 to 3:30. I don't want you to think we're not just randomly coming up after you. Alan says he wasn't at the trail that late. Hey, that's an interesting reply, right? I wasn't at the trail that late. See, the reason he's saying that is because he knows that's the important time frame. Doesn't anybody other than me find it interesting that originally he said 1:30 to 3:30, and then in his next statements in October of 2022, it's precisely outside of that range, 12 to 1:30. Doesn't that bother anybody? I think it should bother everybody. I think that is ridiculous, okay? Alan said, and it's just really indicative of him being, he knows that it's important at that point. And he still can't get out of it because those same 3 girls were at the bridge at 12:43. That means they got there at 12:20, and that's about the time where see, Richard Allen says he is at his mother's house in Peru, Indiana at 11:15, actually in Mexico. It took 50-something minutes to drive from there just to get to Delphi. Then he has to go into his house, and then he has to drive to the bridge, which takes like 10 minutes. So he wouldn't be there until about 12:20. And those girls, the same 3 girls, they were at like probably the Freedom Bridge at 12:20-ish, if not earlier, and they went all the way to the Monenhai Bridge. They didn't see him. Then they slowly walked back, went to a bench, didn't see him at all there, and they saw the person that looks like Bridge Guy exactly when Richard Allen originally said he got there. Don't you understand, everybody? He's lying. It's provable that he's lying. Allen says, I don't want anyone to know I talked to you guys. Mullen says it's important for them to look at his car. Hold on, I think I'm skipping some part. Allen says, we're here because you're still looking. I'm not going to turn into that guy. I don't want to be the target of something. I've watched Dateline, other shows. I'm not an idiot. Right, so you're very familiar. Okay. We're not trying to put anybody in a box, Mullen says. I don't have anything to do with this, Allen says. Mullen says it's important for them to look at his car. Mullen and Liggett tell Allen this is about eliminating people from a refreshed investigation. Okay, and then Allen says, I don't want anyone to know I talked to you guys. Mullen assures Allen the officers won't randomly share that they talk with people to the public. And hey, everybody, if you're out there, why don't you become a channel member or put a super chat in there to let me know what you're thinking. That would be awesome. I don't want anyone to know I talked to you guys. Mullen assures Allen the officers won't randomly share that they talked with people to the public. Don't you think it's interesting? And then they search his house later and he's in the car and he tells, very same day, he tells Jerry Holman, it doesn't matter, it's over. But at that point, nobody knew, man. Why is it over? Mullen said they had talked to his wife. He tells Allen they knew he talked about wanting to hurt himself with a gun. Mullen shows him a picture of the bridge guy. The question needs to be, is that you? And he said, I wouldn't know those girls, Allen says. Well, that's not really what he asked. He said, is that you? And he says, I wouldn't know those girls. See, you notice how that was left out of the Wish TV version? Why? That's a huge thing right there. Hey, is that you? I wouldn't know those girls. Liggett says, bridge guy, looks like he's wearing what you said you were wearing. We just need to know what happened, Liggett says. Allen says blue jeans and a Carhartt jacket are common. Yeah, yep, they sure are. How many people, though, on a Monday at 1:30 were at the bridge wearing those things during workday? That's a good question. It's a good question. That's not what's in the article. That's my own thought right there. We need to know what happened, Liggett says. Allen says blue jean Carhartt jacket. We have a lot of information. We sat down here. We're having a conversation, Allen says. Mullen says, don't think you are a malicious guy. He says he asks Allen to help them understand. Allen says, things seem to have taken a turn. I feel like I'm being interrogated. Allen says, I came forward with what I knew. Mullen says, I'm not here to give you a hard time. We're here to get the truth. Mullen continues, I have more questions, but I think we're done here. Liggett says, people saw you. Where is that? Oh, yeah. Mullen says, is that person you? Report pointing to the bridge guy. That's the question we haven't answered yet. See, don't you find it telling that the first time he asked, he said, I wouldn't know those girls, instead of saying, that's not me. That's absolutely the same as him saying, if one of those girls took that picture, then it's not me. Right? It's just like, that's not what normal people do. It's obvious. Okay. I don't appreciate you trying to talk. People saw you. Is that person you? That's the question we haven't answered. Alan says, I don't appreciate you talking to me into the... Right, but you didn't answer it again. Mullen starts going over the clothing description again. Never mind, Alan says. This is ridiculous. Mullen says that Alan either went to do this to the girls, or he was there when someone else did it. That's exactly what I always say. You're trying to make me say I killed those girls. We're done here, Alan says. Arrest me or take me home. I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore, Alan says. You're really pissing me off. Am I free to leave? Mullen says, you've always been free to leave. Thanks, Alan says. You're an a-hole. And apparently everybody laughed. The 10th day of the trial is expected to begin at 9. Okay, that's something different. Let me move up. Now we go to the top to get to the Holman one. And they have better details here than Wish TV does. So. The state plays a recording of Indiana State Police Officer Jerry Holman interrogating Richard Allen on October 26, 2022. Holman tells Allen they found guns and knives at his home. He asks Allen if he had guns or knives with him on the trail on February 13, 2017. Allen says no. Let's go to the meat and potatoes of this, Rick, Holman says. This is 13 days later after that last interview. He tells Allen they match the extraction marks. Remember in the first one he says, you don't have anything that connects me. Well, they match the extraction marks on the cartridge found at the scene to Allen's gun. Allen crosses his arms. Holman tells Allen he's on Allen's side. He says, you've already started here. There's no backing out. The damage is done. Holman tells Allen he doesn't think Allen should be the fall guy, but they are experts who say Allen is the guy in the video. Allen says he doesn't even know how his bullet would have gotten out there if it's his bullet. There's no way, Allen says. There's not. I don't know how the round got there. It's not my round. The media is going to portray you as a monster, Holman says. There's only one way to get out of this, and that's to tell the truth. What happened that day? Are you the mastermind? The truth will set you free, Holman said. That's what I would have thought. Allen says. Then tell the truth, Holman says. Why did you say it over? Why did you say it's over during the search warrant? You've talked to people I worked with. You've talked to my neighbors, Allen says. He says he has anxiety and he was stressed. Well, they talked to those people after they went to your house, so you're full of shit. There's no way around from my gun. There's no way around from my gun was anywhere near the girls. The bridge, Allen said. You're trying to say I murdered 2 girls. I'm done. Damage is done. Just do what you're going to do. I don't think you're the one who killed them, Holman said. Are you? Anyone who knows me knows I could never do anything like that. So this is when they were trying to see if like Keegan Kline was involved. Or something related to that account. I did not murder 2 little girls. You're trying to convince me to confess to something I didn't do. The science doesn't lie, Holman says. I didn't come out of my gun, Alan says. Or it didn't come out of my gun, referring to the bullet. It didn't come out of my gun. I can't explain it. It didn't come out of my gun. Holman says the evidence points to him and that people said they saw him there. I'm trying to help you, Holman says. He then goes to get a technician to swab Alan's mouth for a DNA sample. The ball's in your court, Holman says. I'm trying to help you. Why does all this evidence point to you? I can't tell you, Alan says. We have 5 witnesses that put you out there on the bridge with the girls, Holman says. It didn't happen, Alan says. They didn't see me around the girls because I wasn't around them. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do. And yet later on he confesses in prison multiple times. There's nothing you're going to have to implicate me because I wasn't out there, Alan says. My cartridge gun was not there. My cartridge gun was not there. You're wrong, Holman says. What was my involvement, Alan asks. You tell me, Holman says. I don't know how I'm supposed to act like this never happened, Alan says. This is the day, this is the time, Holman says. This is the time to get out in front of this. Just like you did, I'm filling this in, just like you did when you got a hold of the tip line on the 16th, because you knew that was a picture of you. You made a mistake, Holman said. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do, Alan says. I'm done. If you're going to arrest me, arrest me. I'm done. I'm not talking anymore. This is ridiculous. I think nothing you have is going to show me around the murders of 2 little girls. Right, see how he says, I think nothing you have is going to show me around the murders of the 2 little girls. You know how he knows that, everybody? Because he didn't bring his phone with him. That's why it didn't ping. It was turned off or somewhere. It's already somewhere else. Or it was completely turned off at this point, and he knows that. So he's saying, you're not going to show me around the murders of the 2 little girls. You see that? It's amazing. He knows that. But he's wrong because those 3 girls place him there. Alan says, I'm not going to do this. Holman says for Alan to sit tight. Then he explains how the ISP lab tied the cartridge at the scene to his gun. I don't think that's true. It's the bullet. Well, I guess that's what he's talking about. Alan says there's no way a bullet from my gun was found at a murder scene. Holman tells him scientists say it is. Welcome, crime hippie. Oh, wait, that's perfect. Crime hippie. Man, you'd love this thing. Listen to this. Hey, Allah, hey, warrior. All right, there you go. I think, let's see. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do. Alan says there's no way a bullet from my gun was found at the murder scene. Holman tells him scientists say it is. And I'm telling you, it didn't happen. Alan says, I didn't shoot anyone. I've never even pointed a gun at someone. I wasn't there. You said you were there, Holman says. Alan says he was at the trails, not the murder scene. I'm done talking, Alan says. Arrest me if you're going to arrest me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I did something I didn't do. The very day they said they wanted to talk to people there, that day I came in. That's exactly right. I just showed you guys earlier that Richard Allen, when seeing the news on the 15th, showing a picture of himself saying, hey, we want to talk to this person to see what they may have seen that day, he called the tip line the very next day. It's amazing. And even says he called it the day after. Alan says he was at the trails, not the murder scene. I'm done talking. He says, the very day they said they were, I guess that's the very day would be, he would have called it the 15th, but, he might have, they came out in the afternoon, the article, so maybe, he's feeling like when he read it the next day. But anyways, the very day they said, because that's not even true right there. The 16th is when he called the tip line, and they asked to speak to the person on the 15th. You don't believe the evidence, Holman asked. I don't, Alan says. I didn't do it. I'm not going to sit here all day. I didn't do it. You obviously think I did. I'm not going to tell you I did something I didn't do, Alan says. I'm not going to tell you I had something to do with it. With this. Arrest me. And yet you confess 63 times later. Sad you're doing this, Holman says. Holman tells Alan he lied to his wife for years. He says Alan's depression got worse. Mine would too, Holman says, if I killed 2 girls. Holman says, we know you have anger issues and depression. Holman puts forward the theory that Alan was there and the girls made him angry. This is your opportunity, Holman says. Alan asks him to please stop giving him opportunities. I didn't kill 2 little girls, Alan says. What did you do? Holman asks. I went for a walk on the trail, Alan says, and I went home. Holman asks, do you know Ron Logan? Not that I know of, Alan says. The evidence doesn't lie, Holman says. I'm trying to help you, Holman says. If you don't want me to help, I won't. Do you believe in science, Holman asks? Welcome, Rebecca Noland. Do you believe in science, Holman asks? I believe in science, Alan says. The bullet did not come from my gun if it was found at the murder scene or on the bridge. Okay. Okay, the bullet did not come from my gun if it was found at the murder scene or the bridge. However, it could be the bullet from my gun if you found it somewhere else. Okay. I'm telling you, any round involved in this did not come from my gun. They spelled it G-O-N-E. I'm telling you, you're wrong, Holman says. Alan says he carries a gun when fishing or mushroom hunting. You realize mushrooms don't grow that early, Alan says. It is your round, Holman says. You can't deny that. And by the way, Richard Allen is bridge guy, and you can see that he's propping up a gun with his right hand underneath that blue jacket. And we know it's a gun because just after that, Abby says, he's got a gun. Or, that be a gun, or Abby, it's a gun, whatever the hell you guys want to believe. But I didn't have my gun that day, Alan says. Holman asks Alan what he wants Holman to tell the prosecutor. Hey, look at that. CR gifted a membership to Pen R. Alan says, I want to tell him whatever you want to tell him. Okay. Holman asks Alan what he wants Holman to tell the prosecutor. Alan says, I want you to tell him whatever you want to tell him. I'm not lying to you, Holman says. Everything I'm telling you is facts. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not making this up. Alan says he has told them multiple times it didn't happen. I can't lie to you and say this round is yours, Holman says. Not my gun, not my bullet. Didn't happen, Alan says. Holman walks through the lab results again. I can't make that up, Holman says. I'm not lying to you. That's unethical. This is a certified official document. I got all the evidence we can present to a jury of your peers, Holman says. I can't explain to you something I don't understand, Alan says. I wish you could, Holman says. Holman leaves the room. At this point, Alan has been in interrogation for an hour. He slumps his head, looked dejected. Alan gets up and goes to the restroom. When the interrogation resumes, Holman says, I don't think you're a bad person. What kind of a person kills 2 people, Alan asks. Good people make bad decisions all the time, Holman says. I can't tell you something I don't know, Alan says. I didn't murder 2 girls. I didn't help someone murder 2 girls. I can't explain something I don't know. Well, figure it out, Holman says, before leaving the room. Then Alan's wife, Kathy, enters the room, and they embrace. Alan tells Kathy the police have been telling him Kathy believes he did it. I can't explain something I don't understand, Alan tells Kathy. It didn't happen. They really believe I did this. I'm not going to say something that's not true, Alan says. It's not possible a bullet from my gun ended up at a murder scene. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't help somebody kill anyone. Kathy asks Alan how the bullet got there. It is hard to understand her because she is crying. This is what I do know, Alan says. No bullet from my gun is involved in a murder in any way, shape, or form. Kathy, yeah, because he didn't shoot them, right? That's why he thinks that. This is what I do know, Alan said. No bullet from my gun is involved in a murder in any way, shape, or form. Kathy says the police told her that they have witnesses who saw Alan at the scene and know it is him. So they told her incorrect information. She said, I love you, baby, Alan says before kissing Kathy. They're not going to get away with this. I'm not going to say something I didn't know. I know you know I would never do this. They're going to do what they're going to do, Alan says. He tells Kathy he's sorry she has to go through this. They want me to tell them I did it, Alan says. I don't care what they do to me. I'm not going to admit to something I didn't do. I mean, he does kind of stick to, adamantly saying he didn't do it. Kathy asks Alan questions, but they aren't understandable over crying. I can't explain something I have no answer for, Alan says. He tells Kathy the police want her to tell him she thinks... He tells Kathy the police want her to tell him she thinks he did it. He says she knows he didn't. Alan says Kathy knows him too well. Holman then walks into the room. Now you're going to drag your wife and daughter through this because you're too effing bullheaded to get out ahead of this, Holman says. Alan and Holman then swear at each other. Alan vehemently denies involvement in front of his wife. He asks if his wife can leave. You can't get past this, Holman says. Kathy and Alan hug and kiss, and then she leaves. You're going to pay for what you've done to my wife, Alan says to Holman. You want to F with me, but leave my wife out of this, leave me out of this. Holman then screams and swears at Alan. Holman shouts that Alan murdered the girls. If you're going to arrest me, Alan says. Happy to, Holman says. Well, there you go. That's crazy. Hey, thanks, Ashley the Smith. Yeah, I mean, it's... God. I don't know why the hell it plays all the time. But what do you guys make of that? Pretty interesting. Hey, funny we never says I have daughter that age. Yeah. Well, his daughter, I mean, it sounds like his daughter was born in 94. So it's like, during that time, she would be 23 years old. So, I don't know what, but his daughter just got engaged. And I guess she got married later in that year, but she got engaged a couple months prior to the homicide. So, anyways, I think that's going to do it. This was kind of a live midday, long midday live stream. Ashley says, funny he never says I have a daughter that age, I'm a father. Right. Why shouldn't the confessions be admissible? I don't know. I don't know what the... Well, who said that they shouldn't be admissible? Yeah, I mean... I don't know what his voice sounded like, Sherry. I've only heard him in a couple clips. I wasn't able to go to the trial, unfortunately. I'm just getting as many notes and different articles as possible. But anyways, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to Timothy, Cecil, Audrey, Cass Cossum, Kelly S, BB Sure, Cheryl Bullock, Sharon Gornick, Carla M, Bobby, Boggle Queen, Alley Cat. I mean, it should matter a lot to people that there's a lot of stuff that's not accurate at all. He says he left his mom's house at 11:15. Takes 50-something minutes. He wouldn't have been home until 12-something. Then it takes 10 minutes to get to the bridge, so he had got there around 12:20. That's exactly when the 3 girls probably arrived there, because they were at the bridge at 12:43. They didn't see him there. They didn't see him all the way down the trail again. And they only saw him as they were leaving, and that's exactly when he said he saw them, because it matches the Dan Doolin 2017 interview where it was 1:30 to 3:30. Yeah, I mean, if people just use logic and common sense, he's toast. All right, but if they don't, then forget it. No, you cannot, Nathan. All right. Then we got Georgia Mom, Interstellar Trucker, Maureen, TJ, WNC Granny, CR, Janelle Glover, Cheryl, Muddy Paws, CR, Madalena, Adamoy, WNC Granny, then Ryan 83, new member. Welcome. Elise Defense, Sybil Bergeron, Wendy Woobles, Gifted 5, then Griffin, new member. Circa then, welcome Griffin, and then Crime Hippie, new member, welcome. Rebecca Nolan, welcome. CR, gifted a membership, and Ashleela Smith. Oh, and then there was a couple, Paula on PayPal and Your Gypsy on PayPal. Miraculously, I'm looking. Alright. Look at these idiots. God. Got these stupid racist people sending emails. So stupid. Let's see. Alright, well that's it. So anyways, like I said before, if you want to get the, like, as if you were in court, you know, you should listen to Lauren on Hidden True Crime, and after that, come back over here, and that's where we can do the, you know, really get to, you know, dig into all the stuff that was heard, okay? Because it's almost as if you're sitting there. She takes like every single word of every, you know, it's wild almost like a stenographer. It's crazy. But even though I'm blocked over there for some reason, one of their mods or whatever blocked me, I'm still saying that because I'm looking out for the freaks, and I want you to have that information so that we can talk about it, okay? We figured out the height the other day. Hey, thanks to the docket. Keep up the great work, you bastard. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.